Hello, my friends on YouTube. Today is the 7th of August 2022, and today we are going to continue on the same subject about the founder of Islam if he was murdered or died natural death. So, one thing is we are going to talk about facts because Muslim Sunni say one thing and Muslim Shia say the opposite. So we need to deal with facts, not with emotion. However, before we start, I would like to respond to a couple of people. Keshkar Gopi, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, is asking about what happened to the woman, and I would assume the woman who poisoned the founder of Islam. In my opinion, there was no woman. There was no woman, and we're going to get into that soon. Just the fact that if you try to make the story add up, it doesn't. First, you invaded these people, you invaded this village, and you killed the men, you actually ordered your army to slaughter, not killing in fight, equal fight, no. They surrendered, they never fought, they surrendered, and you give the word to your army to slaughter all men. Any male above 14, 15 years old was slaughtered. Literally, between 600 to 900 men were slaughtered. The women were taken as sex slaves. Young boys and girls were sold as slaves. And could be the girls later on in the future to be sex slaves. So there was no women here. And a woman who is taken as sex slave, it doesn't make any sense that a woman in that position will actually invite the person who ordered the death or the slaughter of her men, her husband, her father, her brother, to invite him for a meal. You don't invite a person like that to offer him a meal in your home. This does not fit. However, in the story, it says that he ordered his men also to give her the ultimate solution. Okay? That's according to the Sunni story. Okay? She was killed. Alright? That is number one. Number two, there is a person calling himself or herself 72 virgin goat. Okay. And he this in response to David Saxton. David is saying, I'm glad I found you again. And 72 virgin goats, he was saying, me too. He had gone off the radar. I actually, this is for you. I never stopped. Yes, one time I took a break because I was doing something and I couldn't actually, maybe like 3 weeks, I didn't put any videos. But regularly, I'm putting a video, an Arabic video and an English one every single week, every Sunday. And I started this channel about 5 years ago, and it was growing steadily. And suddenly, it stopped. And I remember around this time there was a young man. He was very angry at me because he was receiving like insult messages. And I'm sorry, I said it many times on this channel, I'm not really the best technical guy with the new technology. So somebody suggested, he told me from the channel that I was hacked and I better change my password, my name and password and stuff like that, which I did, and this stopped. But this person was very angry. He was a regular subscriber. He was very angry because of the messages that he was receiving, and I was not writing any of that nonsense that he was receiving, yet he was receiving it. And then suddenly the channel, it stopped growing. And now this is not the first time that people told me, I'm glad to have found you again. I don't know why the channel, it stopped growing and it disappeared from some people's eyes. It seems to be there's many people who cannot, because in the beginning I used to get many Muslims who will actually attack me. Now hardly I get these people, and I think it's either them. You see, I don't understand how these things are running. It's either them, they did something to kind of put a block to hide the channel, so it's hardly any new subscribers. And some people who are watching my video regularly, oftentimes they tell me, I'm glad that I have found you again. So that means they are blocking my content for many people. I don't know if sharing with your friends, that will help to change that again and get more people to see that I didn't stop something. So if you can share, if you can make a comment, if you can, whatever you can do, like anything, probably it will start to change what we are going through, because I'm very sure they don't want to be exposed. That's what we are doing. We are really looking at things with objectively, and we see what makes sense, what doesn't. Okay, let's start. This today is about the same subject, but from was the founder of Islam murdered? Was he killed? Number 2. Last week we had number 1, and this time number 2. And I'm sorry, there's also one comment from Ultra Significant, is saying Allah wanted, since everything is in the hand of God, Allah wanted Muhammad to be poisoned. I wouldn't go into this area so much, because that will open another subject. If you are, let's say, if you are from a Christian background, because they can ask you, did God want Judas, the person who betrayed Jesus, to betray Jesus? We have to understand that there is human responsibility. Okay, I came out of this ideology of Islam because I thought, and that was my responsibility, I studied, I found out for myself, and that's why I left. So that was my responsibility. If the people, whether Muhammad is a good man or a good person or a bad person, is not the issue here, because many good people throughout history were murdered, and we cannot say that God inspired their killer to kill them. Did God inspire Judas, or did he tell Judas to go and betray Jesus and have him killed? Yeah, so we have to be careful here what to talk about. Okay, thank you. Okay, let's start. I'm going to put the sources from the Shia perspective, unfortunately, it's not in English, it's only in Arabic, because most of the Shiite are in Iran. And it's good that they are putting it in Arabic, really, because they have a different language. They speak Farsi. So I took it from the Arabic, and the area that it concerns me, I don't want to translate it myself. I put it to Google Translate to make literal translation, and it's a decent translation. And it shows, so nobody, like last time when it came about the subject about men hit women, and in the Islamic translation it says lightly, but if you take that section, Arabic section, and give it to Google, there is no mention of the word lightly. So they say beat the women lightly because they are embarrassed, to put it as is, because the verse say beat them. First try to convince them what they are doing is wrong, even if it's right, so that they can follow the husband. And if they disobey, don't go to their beds, meaning don't have sexual intercourse with them. And if they still don't want change, then at this moment you can beat them. But how hard, it doesn't say. But because this is embarrassing verse, they add the word lightly. They try to get away with it. But so anyway, let's get moving. I'm going to start here. Okay, the story that we have to go back to the story that Muhammad was poisoned. Muslim in general, Sunni and Shiite, they agree Muhammad died. Everybody, Muslims, Sunni, Christian, Jews, they know that this person died long time ago. The thing is, most people think he died normal death. Most Muslim Sunni, which about 73% of the Muslim population is Sunni, most of them, they believe Muhammad died normal death. He got sick and he died. Okay. Only those who studied Islamic religion, they have higher education in Islam, and if you actually Google that, Muhammad died by poison, you will have a lot of material in terms of videos and printed material on the internet. Okay. But unfortunately, most Muslims don't investigate. So they are told the Prophet died. Okay, since they didn't say he was poisoned, he died. He got sick and died. But reality is, the Muslim Sunni leaders, oftentimes they speak that he was poisoned, but by a Jewish woman. Anything bad, just push it on the Jews and the Christians so that you make them look evil and encourage more hate towards the Jews and the Christians, but specifically the Jews. So it was a Jewish woman who said that the young bride of Muhammad, her name was Aisha, the girl whom he married when she was 6 years old and consummated the marriage with her when she was 9 and he was 54. He was not 10, he was 54, the age of her grandpa. So she is the one who narrated all the situation when she was with him at home. Of course, I can tell you today, my wife told me such and such and such. You cannot verify what my wife told me, and I could be lying to you, and my wife never told me anything, because that's happening in my home. Nobody's listening. I could say anything. If specifically, if I am the one who planned to kill. In today's world, and it has always been, the person who commit murder or any wrongdoing, always he or she tried to push the evidence away from himself or herself, including Aisha. So she narrated that in the Prophet's death, he told her at home, she heard him, the only one, saying that the food he ate in Khaybar, the Jewish village whom he invaded about 3.5 years earlier, a poison he ate at this time, taking effect 3.5 years later. Go to any doctor and tell him, if a poison start to work 3.5 years later, actually the body, if you eat something bad, your body automatically try to get rid of the bad things in your system. But he kept that whatever bad poisonous element in his body for 3.5 years. Then suddenly it started to work. And he told her when it started to work that the food I ate in was cooked by that Jewish woman in Khaybar started to work. And meanwhile, he was the average invasion between 70 to 80 invasion of villages, towns, and so on and so forth, since he migrated to Mecca. To Medina, from Mecca to Medina. He was averaging one invasion per month. Most of these invasions, he was leading the army. You can't be sick. So in the last 3.5 years before his death, that's about 40 months, 40 invasions. About 40 invasions roughly. And he was participating in them. And suddenly he got sick. What kind of poison? Now we are in a modern day society, and poison normally takes effect quickly. And you can kill a person slowly, but to do that, he or she gets sick. There is kind of delaying poison, or giving a little bit of poison every day, so the person gets sicker and sicker and sicker until he or she die. Some people murder other people with this system, so that there is no they don't alarm society. It looks like natural death. Some people did that. So you give certain medicine, actually it's a medicine, but they give an extra dose every day until the person, let's say, I read one time about a person who gave something called water pill, a pill that for sick people to kind of like get rid of the fluid in their system, so that they don't accumulate so much fluid in their body. But then if you give double dose, you dehydrate the person, and over time that person dies. So there was a woman, actually, she did that to her husband to get rid of him. So it's not unheard of. So if she was giving him this medicine on regular days to get rid of him, he could have said no at certain point. This is making me feel sick. But there is no poison after 3.5 years start to take effect. And that's what the Shia are talking about, that suddenly Aisha is coming with all this nonsense, and it's not holding up, and the reason it's not holding up, I'm going to read to you. It was very hard actually to get that stuff because it's from Shiite sources and it's not so easy to find. But anyway, I'm going to put the description there and I'm going to read to you what I have found. Okay. Masoud Masoud, this is the uncle of the Prophet, one of the most trusted people to convey the religion of Islam, said, I would, and that is translated, I will put the Google translation, but I'm explaining that now. This man, the uncle of the Prophet, said, I will swear to God 9 times is like 90%, that the Prophet, may the blessing of Allah be upon him, was murdered. I would swear 9 times, mean 90%, that he was murdered, then swearing once, meaning 10%, that he died natural death. And that's the uncle. In another, and actually there is a lot of things that it proves that. Is just I can't put everything. It's all in Arabic and it will not, but I mean, you're welcome to Google. One person one of the followers said that Abu Bakr is the first caliphate, and his daughter was the young girl whom conspired to kill, according to the Shia. Abu Bakr, first caliph, and Omar, the second caliphate, and his daughter was the wife whom she caught Muhammad with the servant having intercourse. And Uthman, this is the third caliphate. Ali, the nephew of Muhammad, is not mentioned. Only these first 3 caliphate mentioned. And there's one more, his name is Talha, and one more, Sa'd bin Abi Waqqas, that they wanted, okay, this is what the Shiites say, they wanted to kill the Prophet, may the blessing of Allah be upon him, and throwing him into a ravine or a ditch. They wanted to kill him in a place called Al-Aqaba and throw him into a ditch. So this is very clear why Muhammad chose his nephew. When he chose his nephew after him, there is actually a lot of things happened to also prove that he was murdered. Maybe we'll get to it in another video because it's a lot of information. But these 3 caliphate, with especially the first 2, Abu Bakr and Umar, had their wives together living with Muhammad. Their daughter, as wives of Muhammad. So when they see that Muhammad put his nephew to be the guy in charge, and they will be excluded, they got together and they made a plan with their daughters in the house of Muhammad. And it does make sense. And that idea that he ate meat 3.5 years earlier started to take effect is just, it doesn't hold up. It doesn't work. So we please share, like, and we hope to hear from you. Okay. Thank you very much.